In a previous video we took this Makita impact driver apart, the 18 volt one here, had a look inside and we saw that it had an automotive fuse, and that's got me wondering, I wonder if there's one in there. G'day tool geeks, so today we're looking at the 18 volt LXT Makita top of the line impact driver and the Makita top of the line XGT 40 volt impact driver, both in Makita Authentic Purple. These tools are both the Japanese versions, that's why they're in purple. If you want a purple one, have a look in the description below. You might still be able to get one. There was a bit of a rush after the other videos I released of the purple ones, but I'll put some eBay listings down below. You might be able to pick yourself up one. But remember, they will be coming from Japan, and shipping at the moment in the world is a little bit hit and miss. I did plan to do a lot more videos in the last few weeks due to being at home a lot more, but other things didn't work out for me, and yeah. But life hasn't been a box of cherries by any means, so been a bit delayed. But anyway, let's have a look. Let's get into these things, open them up and see what's on the inside. If you are here to find out what tool you want to buy, if that's why you want to watch this video, because you want to see what tool you want to buy for your garage at home, this is not the video for you. This is a video for tool nerds who want to see what's inside these things. That's all we're looking at, the guts of these things. See what difference there is between an 18 and a 40 volt, 36 volt. I haven't even got around to reviewing this thing yet. One day. We'll get there one day. With them both open, I can see a few obvious differences and a few obvious similarities. First up, they do both have an automotive fuse. So anything goes wrong with these tools, open it up, check that first. You might have just blown that. Nice easy fix. As you can see, this board has very little in the way of heat sinking, if anything, whereas the 40 volt has a rather large aluminium surrounded board. It also has this stiffening bar on the buttons here, which you do not get on this one. Helps make the whole tool more rigid when it clamps together the clamshell. And looking at the clamshell, the 40 volt has a bit more in the way of strengthening, a few more bars and things about the place than the 18 volt, but they are very similar. The motors both look very similar, apart from the 40 volt has a gruntier fan, and the front gearbox areas also look very similar, but I think this one looks a little bit smaller in diameter than the 40 volt, and the chuck area is definitely smaller on the 18 than the 40. The switches are both Omron, which Makita get made especially, so looking up these numbers you're basically only going to find that it's a Makita part and order another one. You won't be able to find out much detail about it. They're both 45 volt DC, but they do have a slightly different number on them. So this is a C3JW-1A-1, whereas this is a C3JR-1A-1. What that difference is, I don't know. There is a slightly different area on the bottom where they plug in. So it's probably just something to do with that, but basically looks like the same switch, certainly the same. Every other number's the same, the voltage, everything, so very similar. Need a Makita fridge down here. Be very handy. Makita, if you're watching, one of those glass door fridges, just a little bar fridge. I know you've given them away before. I'll have to get a hold of one of those somehow. Anywho, right, let's just quickly give this a check. So it's the 44mm brushless motor on both of them, so that's interesting. So they might be exactly the same motor and just a different gearbox and just a different voltage being sent to it. Let's have a slightly deeper look. Gonna have to shift this camera, I think. Two armatures here look the same. One on the left is the 18, and this one the 40. They look pretty identical. 20mm diameter, 20mm diameter. What's that red? Am I bleeding? What have I done? Where's that red coming from? There's red stuff on this thing that must be coming off. I'm guessing the red dots are just QA dots. Make sure everything's been assembled and checked. Hopefully it's not blood. If it is, I don't know where it's coming from. Geez, I need to clean my fingernails. The motors you will see are slightly different. This one has 25 degree at the top. This one has 30 degree run at the top. They look slightly different, but measurement wise they are all the same. Don't really want to pull these two apart. Could be trouble. Especially since I haven't even used the 40 volt one yet. 18 volt. 40 volt. 18 volt. 40 volt. 18 volt. 40 volt. So essentially the 40 volt one is about 2 millimeters bigger in every dimension than the 18 volt. So the gears in there must have a little more whack. They've painted the 40 volt aluminium here a darker sort of metallic grey. Both of course have glow in the dark rings. Always the most important feature. Yeah, I don't want to pull this chuck apart. I might let Ave do that one. I don't want to stuff it before I start. It is a pity we can't have a better look at those potted boards, but they are what they are. Essentially the wiring looks almost identical. Same amount of cables, colours, everything's just about the same. All the placements on the board of the wires coming out, it's all following the same pattern, which makes sense. They haven't totally re-engineered this thing. If you already know how to make a good impact driver, there's no point changing too much. The auxiliary switching and the LEDs are identical in the same places. They are both of course PA6 nylon, glass fibre reinforced 30%. But what's interesting here is the dates on the moulds. The 18 volt is only February 2019, not that long ago. Whereas the 40 volt is October 2019. Very new tools indeed. October? When did I get this fucking thing? I know some of you are going to be thinking it, so I did it. I have my 18 volt case here, the 18 volt motor. I've swapped out the 40 volt gearbox. Unfortunately, of course, it doesn't fit in here properly as it's a different length and width. But hopefully with the back on here, it's on a bit of an angle, but hopefully it won't stuff anything. We'll give it a try. I don't know why. Not going to really prove much, but let's just see here. Okay, am I gonna destroy something? Woohoo! She works. Wow, for some reason that seems more powerful. Interesting. Anyway, what have we learned from this whole exercise? Not a lot, but we managed to waste a few minutes of self-isolation, or whatever you want to call it, where you are in your part of the world. So I'm going to put these back together and hopefully someday soon be able to get my hands on the 40 volt stuff, some more tools and some batteries and chargers, but that's probably going to be a bit delayed now due to the situation of the world at the moment. But it is what it is. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and hopefully these all go back together and work sweet once I've done it. One of them I won't know for some time. 40 volt back together. Nerve-wracking. Very tight fit in there. Could easily pinch wires. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one guys. Stay safe and all that stuff. Oh, the red. The red was off the back of this fan. I'm going back in. I forgot to have a look what amperage the automotive fuse was. This one here is a 40 amp and this one was a different colour, so it might have been different. And I won't be able to sleep tonight if I don't find out what amperage it is. Ah, it's a 30 and much smaller. This is the standard sort of automotive ones that I've grown up with all my shitty cars over the years. but this is a much smaller one, same sort of design, and only 30 amp rather than 40. I can sleep tonight. It's an illness, I tell you. Some of you will understand, and some of you will be abusing me in the comments. Whatever. .18 volt better go back together.